Hi, I have your file in front of me and everything you've done is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the cutout body for a second, and I'm going to show you that I love how you actually gave a lot of room around the eyes. Okay, so I'm going to turn those off. I think that you should just handle the nose and the mustache and the mouth as three separate pieces, but watch how I cut things out. And because Steve Harvey has no hair, you really don't have to concern yourself with channels. The only thing that you have to do is if you make, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, if you make a real custom selection, you can save it under Select and Save Selection right there. Okay, and that will show up in channels, not paths. So and if that comes up, I will show you. Okay, now I'm gonna just make suggestions, but I'm just gonna proceed as if this is my file, and of course you can do anything you want because you're the creative artist. But so follow what I'm gonna do on this. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off your nose path, and I'm just gonna take the lasso, and I'm just going to give it a lot of extra room around his nose and not care about how much other skin I get as long as I get enough skin. Okay, that's the point. So I'm going to click to the cutout body, hit Control or Command J, and all that does is make a new layer of the nose I just did. And I don't care how bad that cutout is. Okay, so I'm going to call this nose. Now I'm going to turn it off. Now I'm going to click back to the cutout body, and I'm going to make a circle with the lasso around his mustache and just give it a lot of extra room around his mustache. Okay, like this. And I'll show you even now how I came too close to the bottom right here. So if I just add the Shift key to the lasso, look at how I can increase that. Now if I wanted to, this is where channels comes in. Okay, if I wanted to, because I made a kind of a custom thing, I don't know if I'll ever use it again, but I just want to show you that if I go to select and save that selection as mustache, I don't know how to spell mustache. I think that's right. So now look at down here how we have mustache and channels. So if it becomes deselected, all you have to do is hold Command or Control, click on the black the actual icon of the channel, and you have your selection back. So that's how channels work for you, okay, because he doesn't have any hair. So I'm selected on the cutout body, I hit Command or Control J, and I'm going to call this mustache. I think that's correct. I think it's correct. I don't know, I'm an artist. So now let's go around the mouth and give it a lot of extra room. And I know you separated the lips from the teeth from the lips and the teeth. You separated them. So I'm going to do something with that bottom lip, just for me, okay, because his teeth are already pretty big enough. But anyway, so let's click back. Let me turn off the mustache just because it's off. Click back to the cutout body. You got to make sure you're clicking back to the layer you want to make a selection of, which is that. And I'm going to hit Command or Control J, and I'm just going to call this mouth. Now that I've done all that and I have all the elements that I want, I am going to go to your lower lip here because I love the paths you drew, and I'm going to make a selection of it, and I'm going to click back to the cutout body, right, and hit Command or Control J again, and I'm just going to call this lower lip in case I want to do something with it. At least I'll have it, right? Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is take this original copy and put it way up at the top, because that's the one that we turn off and on just to see how we're doing, okay? Just to see how the whole file is looking, okay? Meaning to know where everything is, we're going to use this as a placement. I even call it clicky. And at the end of the file, that can be thrown away. So let me just save this as I'm just moving along. Now, I have everything off except the cutout body, right? See, look, I'm turning it off and on. And you cut it out perfectly. Your path around the full body was excellent. So you obviously have really good pen control. But I'm going to duplicate the cutout body because I want to call this the blank face. And it's not going to look very good when I'm finished with it, but I don't care. Okay, so that's the whole point. I don't care. Now, you have cutouts of the left and right eye. Actually, I just want to show you something. It's a silly thing, but I'm going to show you. That's not his left eye. That's not his. That's this one here that I'm turning off and on. That's actually his left eye. So you always talk about it in terms of the character, not as you see it. Okay, just so if you ever go into animation, that's the correct kind of way to do it. Okay, so I renamed them. Okay, now you have his eyebrows, which we could make more bushy. Okay, so if I wanted to, all right, I could duplicate this layer, okay, and I'd have two right eyes. But with layer masks, I could only show the thing that I really want to show. There's no reason to even cut it out any more than what it is. So I'm going to duplicate both of these just for the heck of it, just to show you how easy this can be. And I'm going to just for my own purposes, I'm going to say this is the right eye brow. Just so I know that I'm going to use that one for the right eyebrow. And this one is the left eyebrow. And if I don't end up using them, that's fine. But at least I have them. So I'm turning off all the visibility again. Okay. Now let's click back to that blank face. So this is your next step. Let's take the lasso and circle things. But look at how I'm only going to circle it now a little bit. I'm only going to come around the outer edge of this eyebrow because I want to remove it from his face. So every time I do, then what I'm going to do now is you just surround it with a lasso. Now, do you see on the lasso, just so you know how to do it, if I hold Alt or Option, see how this went up too high? I can circle that like this, and look at how I can eliminate it from the selection. So Option or Alt subtracts from a selection, Shift adds, okay? Just so you have that for your future. So now that I'm clicked on the blank face, the quick key is Edit Fill, okay, which is Shift F5. So I'm going to go to Shift F5 to bring up Content Aware, and I want that eyebrow gone. Okay, so let's go over here now and let's click this one. And Photoshop will do it the best it can do to remove these elements. Okay, so Shift F5, hit the return key, Brian. Now let's deselect and let's remove the eye. So let's come across here and let's take the eye away. I'll even get the wrinkles around it to make sure they're gone. What is it? Shift F5, hit the return key. Let's move over to this one, and we just want a blank face, like a blank canvas that can be manipulated. Now I don't care about that upper thing, so Shift F5, return key. So now this is going to not turn out as good as I want it to because the mustache is between the lips and everything. So you are correct that when you asked me about how do you handle the nose, the mustache, and the mouth, let's see how bad. This is probably going to turn out horrible, but let me see if I take this whole area, see around here, because they're almost all connected, and let's go see what function Shift F5 does. And I have to hit function. I probably came out a little too far here, so I'm going to hold Option or Alt. Look at how I can subtract from the selection. Again, that's such a valuable thing to learn right there that I just did, which is great. Function Shift F5, because I have to hold the function key too on a Mac. And oh my gosh, that's actually pretty good. So I don't care about anything else that's in there. Oh God, that's almost like eerie, terrible, isn't it? So let's use let's clean it up. So let's use the S key clone stamp, all right, which I'll just go through. I put it on a flow of 50, which is fine. Right hand click to all the way soft, and let's just fix an area. So let's take this away right here by Option or Alt targeting here. Okay, make sure I'm on the right layer, which I am. And now I can just take that away. Okay, so now let's take this away. Let's make the brush even bigger. I'm going to Option a big, oh, that's too big. Let's go Alt or Option select, and let's just now maneuver this so I'm taking away stuff. okay, and smoothing out stuff using that target. And I forgot to tell you, please uncheck aligned. Please uncheck align. Let's take away the wrinkle between his eyes, and let's take away all the divots that are there. So I'm going to Option or Alt click in his forehead, and I'm just going to remove all of this stuff here. Okay, so now we have his blank face pretty much gone. And that is so weird. Okay, and you can do anything you want to his ears, making them bigger. And I see you do have, did you do his ears? Yes, you did his ears. You did his ears just fine. And I'm actually going to click back to the blank face. Did you make a, no. Okay, so there's no ears over here in the parts. So I'm clicking back to the blank face, and I'm going to hit Command or Control J just so I have his ears. Did I spell that right? Yes. Now that's both ears. I'm probably going to want to take this ear by itself. So watch how I do that. I'm going to turn this off. I have a layer that has two things on it, right? I only want one thing on it. So let's duplicate the layer. Now I'm going to turn off the top one. Let's use this one down here for his left ear, which of course is over here where I'm clicking. Okay, so what I want to do is take the lasso and get rid of the right ear on that layer. Now if I had this layer on, you wouldn't even see it's gone. See when I hit the delete key, it's gone. But if I had had that layer on, you'd go, well, why didn't it go away? Well, because the layer was on. So now let me take this one. I turned off the bottom one, and now let's go and say that this is his right ear. Whoops. Okay, and I'm going to save the file because I don't want it to quit. Now I'm going to circle this one with a lasso and just delete. Okay, now I have almost every part that you need, or I need, or whatever. Now I can do what I want. But I'm going to separate, which you did such a good job of. I'm going to set, because you did a head, and this is, okay, this is where we can really use, well, we don't even need channels because you drew the paths so darn good. So I want to take his suit right here, and I want to click to the blank face layer and hit Command or Control J just so we have his suit, so I can make it even smaller. I feel, and again, remember, these are suggestions, okay, just suggestions. So I'm going to click to the blank face right here. Look, I'm on the blank face layer, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a selection of the head, all right, and I'm going to inverse it and delete the suit off of the blank face layer. I don't want a suit on that layer, okay? So just so you know, I'm going to go to Select Inverse, and I'm not using the suit selection, which I could, because we may get a little edge left over of paint, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just, now that I've inversed it, I'm talking about the outside of the head, I can just hit the delete key and it's gone. Now we just have the head, and I'll put the suit underneath. Now this is how cool things can be. Watch how I can take this right here and hit Control T or Command T. I don't even have to hold the Shift key, but I want to show you something. If I just drag from this bottom right, see how it moves over and it's not aligned? Okay, so I'm going to Control Z back or Command Z back. If I hold Alt or Option, it does it from the center. Isn't that cool? So now I can just move it up, and you can see how neat that is. And now we have a little Steve Harvey thing there, and I'm going to actually make it deeper, not too much, but I'm going to hit Control T and hold the Shift key and just drag it down, so we just have a little bit more suit to play with right there. Now there's some checkerboard thing coming through here, so I need to fix it, and I'm going to show you real quick how to fix that. So I'm going to hit the return key. Watch how I put a blank layer underneath the suit. Okay, a blank layer. Now all I have to do is take the paintbrush, grab this gray right there, and I'm painting at 20%. Again, right hand click with a soft brush, and I'm going to fill that area in here. Okay, now I did. I filled it in. Now what I want to do is, you see this value that's right here? Well, this is welcome to layer masks. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I am going to sample that light value and put it in there, right there on the lower layer. So you see how I'm going to merge these two layers together in a second. Okay, so watch. On this suit, I'm going to add a layer mask. Now you see that line that's right here? I want it gone. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means I make the brush about that big. I'm painting in black, so I hit the X key. Black removes pixels from this layer that I'm clicking on, but I need to paint on the layer mask. So I'm painting at 20 on the flow. Look at how I can just paint out those pixels on the suit layer. Okay, now let me go on this side. I don't want that one right here, so I'm going to paint that out. I'm not erasing it. I'm using a layer mask to smooth it out, and now look how better that looks. Now I can take both of these layers, since I don't even need that layer mask anymore, okay, and hit Command or Control E to merge them and save the file. Okay, that's cool. Now let's go back up to here. So let's start with his eyes. Now that's why we have a clicky copy. See the clicky copy? I have to locate his eyes in a reasonable place. Okay, so I'm going to put, watch this, I'm going to put a temporary guide right across his pupils. All right, and I'm going to put a vertical guide where his little shine spot is on that eye, and, whoops, dang, my dock came up, I'm so sorry. Okay, and another vertical guide right in the middle. So you see how I have two guides for his eyes. Well, now I don't need the clicky copy on, and you got to make sure it's turned off, right? So now I'm going to click to both eye layers. Okay, those are, and you can see how hard those cutout lines are. Well, I don't care because I have a layer mask. Now I'm going to show you the layer mask right off the bat, but in order to have you really see the layer mask, and I'm going to hit Command or Control semicolon to temporarily, see how I can temporarily turn off the guides by holding Command or Control semicolon. Okay, why am I doing that? Because I want to turn this off and I want to show you the value of layer masks. So I'm going to add a blank layer mask to the right eye and a blank layer mask to the left eye. Now let's start with the right eye and click to the layer mask. So I take my paintbrush, and I don't want his eyebrow part of this. Okay, so this may take a bit, but I am going to put this up at 30% to get it done quicker. So you see how now I can actually fuzz or feather the edge away. See that? I can feather or paint black on the layer mask with a soft brush. Remember, right hand click all the way soft. And now I can customize this to blend in. Now I told you I didn't want the eyebrow part of this. So look at how I can take the eyebrow away. Now if you make a mistake, just hit the X key and you'll be painting white on top of the black. Now do you see how we customize that? Now let's click over to the left eye. Now let's go in the left eye and let's do the same thing. Let's customize it like this. Let's get rid of this. Let me come across like this and come down and get rid of the edge first. Remember to let go of your paintbrush every now and then so that if you Control or Command Z back, you don't go all the way back to the beginning. So don't just hold it down. Let your finger go on the mouse so that when you do Command Z back, as I just said, you don't have a long way to fix it. Now what if you for some reason said, well, maybe I want the eyebrows part of it. Maybe I do. Just hit the X key and you can put the eyebrow back. See? Isn't that cool? Okay, but I'm going to Command or Control Z back because I liked what I did. Now let's look at his body. What I see that his eyes maybe need to be even squintier or smaller. Okay, so let's go to this eye and let's click on the image, not the mask, the image, and I'm going to show you which one I'm talking about. Now I'm going to turn on the blank face. Now look at how beautiful, because I softened the background, meaning that hard edge. Okay, I'm going to show you the eye I'm working on. Watch this. If I disable the layer mask, do you see how the edge shows up? If I enable the layer mask, you see how it goes away. Now, I'm going to bring the guides back. It's Command or Control semicolon. Now I'm going to click on this image, not the mask, the image, and hit Control or Command T. Now, if I hold Alt or Option, do you see how that stays put? Do you see how it stays right where it should? Kind of. Now I'm going to actually move it to where that crosshair is in the right place. You got to put his eyes back in the right place. Now I'm going to hold the Shift key and make them more squinty. Okay, I'm going to drag it out like this and go like this. Okay, now let's do the same thing to this eye. Okay, so I click to that image. All right, Command or Control T. Let's hold Alt or Option and go like that. Try to resize them about the right size. Look at, I'm putting it right back where it's supposed to go, right? Now I'll hold the Shift key so I only make this go to that side and this go to the center. Now I got to kind of move this around. Now I can see how this is looking. Okay? It already looks funny. I'm laughing at my own, your own, our own thing. So let me hit Command semicolon. Now this is why we have a clicky copy. You want his eyes in about the right place. Now let's make his eyebrows super bushy. Okay, we have work to do. So now let's turn off the blank face so you can get your head around this. I'm talking to myself too. I only want to show the eyebrows on this. Okay, that's possible. What do we add? We add a layer mask. Now this could have been done so many different ways, but I'm going to make the brush bigger, and I want to show you a really cool trick. Okay, this is kind of neat. I hope this doesn't freak you out, but if I fill up that whole mask with black, won't this be gone? Won't that whole thing there be gone? And then I can just paint white where the eyebrow was. Doesn't that kind of get the job done quicker? So I'm going to go Control Backspace. See how I filled it all up with black? Let me click over here. Control Backspace or Command Delete. Okay, now click back to the right eyebrow, Brian. Let's move in. All I have to do is show where the eyebrow was. Well, there's where the eyebrow was. Okay, all right, so I know it's in this general area. So I can make my brush smaller, hit the X key, and I can paint on, whoops, I'm doing the wrong one. No, I am not doing the wrong one. My brain is not, oh, I have to hit, I already hit the X key. I was already hitting the X key. So now do you see how I can reveal, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at myself. I can reveal the eyebrow a lot quicker. And maybe this wasn't a great way to do it, but for me it's working. Okay, so there's his eyebrow. Now I have to get rid of that edge again. So I'm going to make the brush smaller, hit the X key, and paint that out. Okay, now let's go over to the other one. Let's click to the layer mask. Let me see where it is generally so I know where it is. Now I hit the X key and I can now paint with a little bit bigger brush. Let me see where it is. Okay, I can paint where it is. And you can see how neat that I'm actually revealing that, and I'm giving a little bit of extra skin around the eyebrow, so when I make them big, it'll work. There, that looks good. Now, click to the image, Brian. This is this one. Hit Control T. Now let's make it really big. Okay, so how do you do that? You hold Alt or Option, and I can make it big like this and move it right above the eye. Now I'm going to put it on a layer below the eye. Okay, so I'm going to hit the return key, and maybe I made him too big. I don't know. Let me click over here to the other one. Here, I'll show you. Hit Command or Control T, hold Alt or Option, and make that one big. And now let's move it down. Now, I don't see how it's getting in the way of the eye. Now I'm going to hit the return key, and I'm going to see if I have them in roughly the right place. The answer is yeah, why not? But if I take these two layers, I just shift clicked on both these layers. I'm going to turn this off so you see. If I move them below the eyes, it'll make more sense. Now let's turn on the blank face and I will show you what I did. So I'm laughing again. See, now we've made the eyebrows bigger. The fact that we softened the edges on a layer mask is amazing. Now, I'm going to do something very mean to his nose. Since he kind of already has a big nose, let's make it even bigger. Well, what do? I think we need to locate a guide right in the shine spot of his nose. Okay, so now that is where the nose goes. At least I'll know where the nose goes. Okay, and I'll put one down here for the bottom of the nose, just so I can have it right there. Now, if you have too many guides, that's fine. Just go to View, Clear Guides, and then we'll do it again, just for the nose, just so I don't lose my brain here. And I'm going to put it in the center, and then one more down here for the bottom of the nose. Okay, let's turn off the blank face. Let's click to the nose layer and turn it on. Whoops, I didn't. Oops, I always tell students, and I made the same mistake that all the students do. They leave clicky on. Well, if you leave clicky on, you can't see anything underneath, right? Okay, so first we're going to soften the edge of the nose. So I'm going to turn off this layer, off this layer, off this layer, and off this layer for now. Okay, let's now add a what? A blank layer mask. Let's take the paintbrush, and I know I have it at 30%, but let's hit the X key so I'm painting black. Brian, are you on the layer mask? Yes. Now I can soften the nose. Now I'm only going to soften out here on the edge of the nose, and then I'm going to make the brush even smaller so I can remove part of the mustache. Well, I think the mustache kind of underneath his nose is okay. It's okay to be there. All right, but let's just get rid of that hard line. So we make our brush smaller by hitting the bracket keys, right? And now let's soften this line. Remember to let go of your mouse periodically, so if you mess up, Command or Control Z makes sense. Now look at how you can make a mistake. Just hit the X key and put it back. Now I think that's enough because I'm going to do a huge mustache. All right, so now let's turn on the blank face. Okay, I'm going to make his nose even bigger, and I need to soften that upper part. So I need to make sure I'm clicked on the layer mask. Let's make the brush bigger, and let's soften. I need to hit the X key, and let's soften by painting black on the layer mask and reduce that wrinkle right there. Okay, now, if I click on the image, you have to click to the image if I want to hit Command or Control T. Now I'm even going to use Liquify in a second and make his nose kind of bigger. So if I hold Alt or Option, see how valuable it is to go from the center out. Now, I need to move it up like this, and you see how that works. Now, if I hold the Shift key, I can make it come down a little bit. So I'm going to hit the Return key. Let's turn on these 4 layers, and now look at how we have Steve Harvey like this. Okay, it still looks like him. Still looks like him. I probably should make his eyes a little taller here. So if I hit the image here, look, if I hit this image here, that's eyebrow. If I hit this right eye and shift click the left eye, I can hit Command or Control T, hold the Shift key, and just make his eyes a little taller. See how that kind of helped? And I'm going to move the whole thing down just a little bit right there. Okay, now save the file, Brian. Okay, this is how you use Liquify. So let's take this layer and click on the image. I'm going to hit Command or Control semicolon. I want to just round this off a little bit more. So let's go to Filter and Liquify. Now, if I zoom in, I can use this, I have to find it. This is called the Bloat Tool, and I'm in the Bloat Tool. So I make it bigger, and look at how I can actually make that a little bit even bigger. See how I can do that? Okay, now I'm going to say OK, and now I don't like what I did there. Actually, I do. That's not bad. All right, now let's do a mustache. Okay, so let me click to the mustache. So there's his mustache, which doesn't look good, right? So what do we need? We need to add a layer mask. Now, I'm going to remove for a second the nose layer so I can see my issues. Now, if it's easier for you to turn off the blank face so you can soften the edges, then do it. But make sure you're selected on the layer mask. Hit your B key, Brian. Make your brush smaller, and this time let's just take a second out, just a second out, and look at how I'm actually going to just take away that edge, although it's going to be under the nose, so I don't think it matters, and I'm going to restore any of that hair on his mustache that I just kind of ruined. Okay, so I want to make a smaller brush and do something a little bit more custom here. So I'm going to right hand click and go to a little bit harder brush just for a minute, because I want to get closer to the bottom of his mustache, so if we make his upper lip any bigger, the hair will look really good that's there. And you see how I'm being careful right there. Okay, careful. Now I'm going to go back to a soft brush in a second. Okay, whoops, I made a mistake right there. So I'm going to hit the X key and put that back. Okay, now I'm going to right hand click and go back to soft. Hit the return key, Brian, and let's just make the brush bigger and just, whoops, I was using white because I fixed it. I didn't hit the X key to put black in there. Now I want to hit the X key and make sure I have all the mustache. Over on this side, I want to have all the mustache under his nose. Okay, now we turn on his blank face. We turn on his nose. We click to the mustache image, hit Command or Control T, and what do we hold? We hold Option or Alt and make his mustache even bigger. Now, you're going to see that I have things to fix. Now, what do I have to fix? Well, just a minute, let me do this over here. Oh, you know what? Look at the mask. Look at, I never painted out the right-hand side, this side. Look at how nice I did that side, but I never did this side. But this is all custom stuff. So, I'll turn off the blank face so we don't get confused. I don't get confused. And I'm going to hit the X key and paint black, and I'm going to get rid of this edge. So let's go get rid of this edge. I should have done that. I didn't do that, but who cares? It can be done now. Okay, now I have, as I said, see this little skin here and the skin here? Well, I believe that's on the nose layer. So if I go to his nose, that's where it is. So what do, Brian? Well, you click to the nose mask, and I can paint black on the nose mask. I'm sorry, yes, black on the nose mask to take away the skin on the nose layer. Now I'm going to Command Z back twice so you see what I'm talking about. If I turn off the mustache, wherever I put the mustache, it's right there, you can see I have too much skin here because my mustache I made bigger, right? So if I click to the nose mask, I can remove that skin and a little bit of that mustache there and remove that skin right there. Now I can make the brush smaller, hit the X key and fix that little bottom nostril that I actually kind of ruined, and fix this little bottom nostril. See how you can kind of be real customizing? Now look how nice that looks. I have a little bit more skin to get rid of here, so I need to hit the X key and get rid of that skin on the nose layer so I reveal the mustache which is on the layer below. Now look at what we've done. So I'm turning on his blank face. Now we have some fix over here to do. It's got too messy. It's too messy, Brian. So click to your mustache mask and let's remove with black all that extra stuff on the mustache mask. And there is Steve Harvey so far. Now, on his mouth layer, you can do anything that you want to do. in this case, and I'm going to be done with this, I'm using the mouth that we did before. Let me see about that mouth. Okay, so we have to soften the bottom of the mouth. I don't need to soften the top because it's under the mustache. So I add a layer mask, take the brush, and let's soften this line so we don't see a hard line on the blank face layer. And I'm gonna not worry about that lip for now. Let me just come right down here, and then I'll make my brush smaller and fix the lip. Okay, so I make the brush smaller, I hit the X key, and I put the lip back because I took too much black on it. Now turn on the blank face. Okay, now let's make sure look, I'm on the mask, right? I want to make the mouth bigger. So what do you got to click to? On the image. Command or Control T, hold Alt or Option, and now we can make this bigger and move the lip down. And now I think I've thoroughly destroyed Steve Harvey. Okay, poor guy. And now the ears probably want to be bigger, but I think you're going to be okay from this point. All right, easily done. The right ear right there. Let me turn off the face. The right ear is right there. The left ear is here. I want to play with the left ear first. Since it's cut out pretty tight, I don't think it even needs a layer mask. So if I click on it and hit Command or Control T, I can hold Alt or Option and make this ear bigger. That was quick. Okay, let's now turn this one on. Let's hit Command or Control T, hold Alt or Option, grab a corner and make it bigger, and just kind of move it down a little bit. And now there's Steve Harvey. Now, if you're happy with what you've done, all of these things, I don't even need the lower lip, so I'm just going to throw it away. Okay, I have all the layers from the suit, right here, the suit, all the way to the right eye, correct? So I click on one of them, shift click on the bottom one, make sure they're all on, and we're going to make a folder out of this. Okay, so I'm going to make a folder and I'm going to call it parts. Now I go inside. I need to make a copy merged layer so it includes everything. So again, you shift click on all the layers. All right. On a PC, it's Control Alt E to make a copy merged layer. On a Mac, it's Command Option E. So watch right here when I go Command Option E or Control Alt E, I've made a copy merged layer, and it always takes the name of the upper one. So I'm just going to call this main. All right, now I'm going to move it out of the parts. And that's the one right here. This single file is what I bring into my background. Or I bring the background in here. So look, I'm turning off all the parts. Now I have a copy merged layer, which is just one layer. It's a beautiful single layer. Okay, and now this one can be moved around, and you can put a background inside of this, right in this file if you want, and you can move him around and place him where you want. Okay, like maybe you could put him in a game, in his game that he has, which I don't even remember the name of it. So I'm going to put him back where he's supposed to go. Let me see if I have him in the right place. Yes, and I hope that helped. Let me know if it did. Thank you.